Okay, thank you everyone so much for joining this today's burst of innovation. Today we're talking about a topic that I think is pretty important. Actually, I think all of them are important, and that is going from obvious to innovative. Now, that's probably not something you hear a lot. It's not something or a way that we talk about it. We usually talk about innovation as like getting past the incremental and past the innovative, incremental and past the obvious and going right to innovative. But I bet you've experienced, like I have, that sometimes that approach, as much as you want to get to those big breakthrough ideas, tends to fall short. So I'm going to share a little bit about why. In order to do that, and a little bit about how to get over it, I need to share my screen. So I am going to do that right now. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about how to use the obvious to actually get to the innovative. So here's typically what happens, right? We get a team together, or maybe we're even doing it solo, either way, and we're trying to solve a challenge or seize an opportunity. Maybe there's something sticky that we've been going after for a while, or maybe there's an opportunity in the marketplace that we want to figure out how to capture. But we know that doing it the way we've always done it isn't going to work. We know that those incremental ideas and solutions or approaches that have been kind of bantering around the office are not going to get us the results we need. We know that incremental is not going to move the needle. So either on our own or with a group, we say to ourselves, all right, we've got to get from the challenge, whatever that is, the thing that we're percolating on, the question that we have, we've got to get from that challenge to being innovative, to innovation, right? Something big and bold, something breakthrough. As you can see by looking at my very simplistic chart, that is actually a pretty big leap, isn't it? It's a big leap to go from the challenge or task or opportunity to that big, bold place. And, you know, I kind of equate it to all those posters that we see, like from the 80s, actually. Hopefully we don't see them in your office anymore, where they have the person like leaping over a chasm or a team leaping together into the unknown. It's a big leap and it's actually scary. And what ends up happening is you get a team and yourself actually looking like this, looking exhausted, looking like they don't have the innovative answers, looking like maybe staring at you like a deer in the headlights. And in fact, I'll share with you a recent experience, which is actually why I'm doing this burst of innovation. So I was called into one of my clients to come into a meeting, not to facilitate, but actually just to be there and to provide insight and innovation and just kind of poke the bear a little bit. It's a wonderful role. I'm just always thrilled when I get to play it. The facilitator had the best intentions, but here's how the facilitator started the conversation and started the meeting with us. I think there were about 15 of us in the room. They said, hey, today's about XYZ challenge. Obviously, I can't share the details because it's confidential. But they said, hey, today's about XYZ challenge. So what I want, though, is breakthrough thinking. We have got to do it differently if we're going to make an impact, move the needle, beat our competition. So what I don't want today are all those incremental, obvious ideas. I don't want the ideas that we've been throwing around for the last couple of years. I want new, I want different, I want innovative. So that sounds good, right? Because isn't that ultimately what we're going for? It's fantastic. But a sense of panic actually took over the room. People started to slump in their chairs, arms started to cross, blank. And the person had some great exercises to do that were kind of leaping exercises, but you would see the team, it's like they'd start to leap in their minds and then they'd pull it back. They'd start to leap and they'd pull it back. They couldn't get to that breakthrough place. None of us could, because here's what's happening and here's what we're going to overcome. We got two things going on against us when we try to leap that big. First, we've got the lizard brain. By the way, that's my illustration of my lizard brain. I call him Bernard so that I talk to him, tell him no thank you, not today. But that lizard brain is over there trying to keep you efficient, trying to keep your mind efficient and actually kind of lazy. It doesn't want you to have to expend energy. So that lizard is over there blocking out anything that it thinks is complex, that is challenging. And you know what's challenging? Going from point A to point Z without anything in between. So it's keeping you efficient in a bad way. And on the other side, you've got this little brick walls. It's what we call the reticular activating system. And in neuroscience, it's actually really fascinating. What that RAS for short does is it actually, as you can see from the visual, it blocks out anything that is different than your internal beliefs, right? It wants to validate what you already know and believe, what you've already experienced. And you know what that is? Those incremental and obvious ideas that you've already come up with. It likes those. It does not like those big breakthrough things right away. So even if you're the most innovative person, and you know what, I'm in this business 24/7, and I still have a lizard brain and an RAS that's like, nope, this is going to be too much work, shut down, abort, abort. And then I've got my RAS over there going, let's block out all that stuff that's unique and different and innovative. Let's let in what we know. So that's what's happening to you and to your teams when we try to leap over that chasm without any steps in between. So going back to the story I was sharing a minute ago in this work session, I actually pulled the facilitator aside and said, hey, do you mind if we try something? I want to set you up for success. That's all of our goal today. I said, here's what I want us to do. I want us to create a step in between. I want us to go back to the challenge. Then I want to go from the challenge, and I actually want us to get down all those obvious and all those incremental ideas that we have. I want us to get those down, brainstorm those, allow that to happen. Then what I want us to do is I want to use those obvious answers, those obvious solutions, the ones we've been thinking about forever, and I want to use those to brainstorm off to get to the innovative ideas. So let me give you an exercise for all of us on this call to do. It's so good to see so many of you. So here's what I want you to do. Just lightning fast, I want you to shout out a color that comes to mind. For me, it's blue. Okay? So for most of us, it's blue, red, green, orange, purple, the obvious colors, right? The things that we know, the things that very easily come to our mind. Now, take whatever color you came up with, and I want you to brainstorm off of that color, right? So go from obvious to innovative. So for me, it's blue. So blue might take me to teal. Teal might take me to aqua. Aqua might take me to sky blue. Sky blue might take me to iridescent midnight. Do you see the point? When we actually brainstorm off of the obvious and the incremental, we get to the innovative ideas. So normally what we do is we go from challenge to ideas, and then we stop and we move to implementation. I want you to add an extra step. I want you to first of all give people permission to be obvious and incremental. And then I want you to take that obvious and incremental, and I want you to leap from there to the innovative. And again, you can do this solo, or you can do this with a group. Either one works. I do this by myself all the time when I'm trying to come up with a new idea. I'm like, all right, Tamara. In fact, I was just brainstorming for the newsletter, our newsletter the other day, about how to make it more valuable. And I wanted to come up with something way more meaningful and personal. But I stopped and said, let me think about the obvious ideas first. And then I used those to get to the bigger ideas. When you do that, you start to get over that primal brain. In fact, you trick the brain, because the primal mind goes, oh, I know this. This is easy. I don't have to spend a lot of energy here. No problem. Let's go to those incremental ideas. And then the RAS says, oh, no problem. Let's let those in. I know that. So we've pushed aside these two bodyguards to get to our innovative mind. So innovate against the obvious, or sorry, let me say that differently. Get to the obvious and then get to the innovation. Hopefully that makes sense. I have a question over here. I just want to make sure. Oh, purple. Nice. Yeah. See, now if you brainstorm, Amity, off of purple, I wonder what you would get, right? So then you get the other ones. So thank you for sharing that. I'm glad to know someone's doing the exercise. But do you see my point here, right? We try to leap this chasm with no parachute and no help and no step in between. And you know what? We're not Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. We don't leap from building to building without something in between. I don't know why that just came up in my head. I think I saw something on Netflix about it last night. But we can use the obvious to get to the innovative. When we tell our teams and ourselves, no incremental, no obvious, we are gonna leap, we're actually shutting them down. We wanna open them up. We wanna open ourselves up to innovation. So we're gonna add that step. And we're not going to necessarily tell, by the way, we don't need to kind of lay it out that that's what we're doing. We just need to go through those steps, get the lizard brain and get the RES out of the way. All right. That is, oh my gosh, I'm 30 seconds under for once. I'm usually over. So that is today's burst of innovation, how to use the obvious to get to the innovative. I'm going to stay on one more minute because I got a private question over here that I want to make sure to answer. So if you can stay on, you're welcome to. But the question is, what do I do if the team thinks the incremental ideas are good enough? That's a really important question, actually. I'm glad you brought that up. So here's the thing. They might be good enough, first of all. Depends on what you're solving against. So I don't want to discount every kind of tweak or optimization. That's brilliant innovation in a lot of ways. But here's what I'd say. It's all about how you present it back. So if someone on my team says to me, Tamara, I think this is good enough, I don't say, no, it's not. Let's keep going. I say, yeah, I know. So let's see where else it can take us. Yeah, you're totally right. This is brilliant. Let's see what other brilliance comes out of it. Or, no, I totally get it. This sounds right. Let's just push the boundaries a little bit and see how much bigger we can make it. So it's about validating the ideas that are already on the table, the solutions, the thinking of your team, and then allowing them to expand. I think it's a lot more expansive thinking than this versus this, or yes, but now we're moving on to this. Hopefully that made sense, because I think that's really important. Like, some people look at the ideas and go, that's good enough. In this case, you really want to think about how to expand them. So yeah, got it. Awesome. And let's keep going. All right. That was this week's, or today's, I don't know why I'm getting a week and a day confused today. That is today's burst of innovation. Thank you so much for joining me. I think I'll be doing another one this week. So thank you. Stay tuned.